pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Call the meeting to order. Motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approve the minutes. 8:05.
Short and sweet and correct. Motion to approve the minutes from 8:05.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Public concern. Greg, you're up. What's the deep one?
Well, there's a couple things I'd like to talk about. First of all, kudos out to the county fair. Every year they continue to do improvements that make it really nice. And, it's one of the things we can hold our hat to. And I appreciate all of the fair board members for their hard work and dedication, because they put in a lot of extra work, and it continues to be an area that I think is really good. I had a couple people from other counties come, and they visited with me, and we went to the fair a couple different times, and they were so impressed for a county our size to have as much as we do for that fair. Second thing is, you guys are going to approve, I think, for a loan for the counties, for the buildings and trades to build a couple of those structures. I think what a great project. It's a win-win situation for the county, but also for our students. We've built 18 houses in our community, and 17 or so, and people are living in them, so it's nice, and we're looking to sell 18. But what a great project for the kids to do it. That's one occupation that we really need in our area. Construction people to know and do that. And the third thing, and I appreciate all the work you do and stuff, third thing I'd like to do is talk about Wildcat Road out by the trailer courts. When you're coming in town from the west, you're going east, there's, the sun comes, when it rises, it's tough in the morning when you're coming in there. But also the speed limit, it goes from 55, and all of a sudden when it hits city limits, it goes to 25. And all I'm asking is that if we could possibly look at maybe doing a 45, further back. Because it's about 100 feet from 25 speed limit to this road, and a lot of kids are crossing. We're having a lot more kids than we've ever had before in that area. Not only from the trailer court, but from up Eagle Ridge. If you've ever been up Eagle Ridge lately, there's little ones all around, which is fantastic. I love it. I think it's awesome. But anyway, just as safer if the county would look into maybe putting a 45 out further, and it is on county grounds, it's not city, or it'd be bugging the city, just to try to be proactive, not reactive if something happens. I hate that.
There's no sidewalk out there, so that's where they're crossing the road, and then they're along the shoulder if they are walking.
Unfortunately, you're correct. Unfortunately, and that's another thing that bothers me too.
And I'm not advocating we go out and put sidewalks by any means, because I don't want the phone calls.
I'll be okay with that, but, no, I'm just kidding. And that's why we have a bus pickup there, so the kids don't have to go the 2 blocks along Wildcat Road. It's that safety of concern for me. I'm just looking, being proactive and reactive, so, anyway. Any questions from me? I appreciate the work you guys do, the dedication you put in, and, I've always, the school district always been a partner with the supervisors. I've talked to many of you of different aspects and been in different meetings with you too.
I'll check with the city of Humboldt, see if they have a 45-mile-an-hour or 35-mile-an-hour sign.
Okay.
If they have one, we'll see if we can get it put in right away.
Okay, appreciate that. Yeah, just whatever,
Where's the city limits at, is it right at the
Yep.
sign?
Yep.
Right at the corner of the field?
Yep. Yep.
If they have to have one sitting around,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you gotta order it.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're gonna be able to
Partner up.
again and go on out in the county and do the ways.
I've had this conversation with Ben, and he'd gladly put one in and provide the post and stuff if we could get the sign.
Okay.
Because,
Usually when we get signs, we order a whole bunch of them at one time. You order one sign, it gets real expensive.
You don't need 30.
All right.
So I'll check with the city and see if they got a sign.
I appreciate that. I appreciate everything you guys do. Okay?
Thank you.
School starting, coming up.
See the excitement in your eyes.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Come on in. You guys have a
I'm not
nice day.
thinking the kids are that excited yet.
No, I know.
Everyone I've talked to's got that,
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Good to see you.
Do we have to have a change to whatever the county changes someone?
No, I don't think so.
I think so.
I think we talked to Ben last year about it, and, but we just didn't do anything.
No, they can, yeah, there's,
We can go out.
yeah, he can go out and put a sign most anywhere, like if there's a bump or something, he can put a sign up to slow the traffic down.
We just have to remember to ask.
He
him
just said
if
they
he's in.
didn't have any 45-mile-an-hour signs to place out there. And so he said, he suggests I talk to the city, I'll ask the city if they got one. Yeah, or 35 or something, just to start to slow them down a little bit.
Or even one of those speed, little signs that say, you know, slow speed limit ahead or something like that, that's in those, where they have a sign, speed limit ahead, something to
Yeah.
catch their attention.
Okay.
Moving on. PC with the Boone Valley Watershed Authority.
Hi, everybody. In case you don't know me, I'm P.C. Loving. I am on the Boone River Watershed Management Authority, which is a newly formed group, and I don't know if you guys got the email I wrote, but
Yes.
Humboldt County is part of Boone Valley Watershed, and we are, the Boone Valley Watershed Management Authority decided to apply for a grant to make a comprehensive plan for the Boone Valley Watershed. And the part of this grant is, it's professionally done, they hire somebody, you know, there are 26 other watershed management authorities in the state. And they write these plans, and there is a $5,000 match for a $100,000 grant to write the plan. So, the Boone River Watershed Management Authority decided to ask the, you know, local stakeholders, and I am also on the Soil and Water Conservation District. I'm just an associate member, because I'm interested in that stuff, and then I'm also on the County Conservation Board, and man, we, on the County Conservation Board, we appreciate all your support. We've had so many great things going on, couldn't have done it without you. So, the reason I'm here, you can see the first page, overview, second page shows you Humboldt County. Just a little less than a quarter of our county is covered by the Boone Valley watershed. I believe the next page has a map of, and you all are familiar with the Kibberts property that the Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation purchased north of Renwick. See a couple nods? Yeah, it's just, oh man, it's a great property, great habitat up there, and Todd's working on getting it developed as a park, and it's gonna be fantastic. That lies right in the watershed. I think on that page I have a list of what would be covered by a comprehensive plan, you know, nutrient management, soil erosion, recreation, habitat, all that kind of good stuff. And what I'm asking you guys for is to write a letter of support that says if we are awarded the grant to write the plan, that you will pitch in X amount of dollars for that match. that makes sense? So you don't have to pitch in any money unless we get the grant. And, they were gonna award 2 of these grants this year, now they're gonna award 3, so our chances of getting a grant just increased by 150%. But, I mean, if we didn't do it this time, we'd probably do it another time. Now, so far, Kyle Ammett with, PNR, he said last week we had about $3,000. The deadline is August 23rd. And Soil and Water Conservation District from Humboldt has pitched in 500, so, you know, we do have, our county does have a, you know, stake in the plan so far. Yeah.
Where, is this thing, how new is this? I mean, is it, this isn't the beginning.
No, heavens no. This is, you know, if you look, I wish I knew. Bruce,
Well, I've seen some of the signs over there east of...
Iowa Heritage bought this probably 3 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Kent Kibbers.
But
Kent Kibbers
are
bought
you-
it, and he sold it to Iowa Heritage.
Are you talking about the...
I'm talking about the overall, all watershed.
Oh.
So we aren't joined, this isn't just something new.
No, you,
This is
Humboldt County joined this
long,
2 years.
yeah, not too long ago.
all right.
Yeah.
Year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, but the idea behind it is, you know, for, water quality, you can't really get something done county by county because, you know, it's in different watersheds.
Right.
And this is part of the, you know, reasoning behind, we don't want a lot of,
Put it this way.
controls from
Well,
one
we're
high.
trying to be proactive so the government doesn't come in and say, you gotta do this.
Yeah,
So you
right.
stay ahead of it.
Yeah.
And a lot of
Yeah.
the state, I don't know if you've sat down at ISAC at some of these meetings, so I've attended them, where they're developing these watershed areas
Yeah,
to, you know, health and
Filter.
nutrient management, sediment, all these things, trying to have, you know, getting people to get grass waterways in,
yep,
buffer strips, all this type of stuff, just to
Yeah.
help clean the water up so they don't come after you later and throw all these regulations on you.
yep, you got it. This is, we're trying this, but,
Trying to be proactive
Yep.
rather than reactive.
yep, and then the second, you know, my real reason that brought me here today is that if we're part of this, you know, if we have a stake in this, we'll have a little bit more say, and then when Todd goes to write grants for this Kibberts property north of Renwick, can say, well, it's in the Blue River Watershed Plan, and that'll look really good. Not that he isn't really good at doing all that stuff anyway, but...
That's the burden.
Well, I know it's from the emails from
over
this
here.
project, that a lot of other counties have committed
Down,
Right in here.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I think that money,
Yeah, this is the
everything that you're more.
Yeah,
That bridge where the flew,
Designated.
okay, all right, now I'm
Put in
where
X
it's at.
amount
Yeah, and he owns...
for the grant.
yeah.
Or half he owns, so...
How much money do you want to hear the county, right?
Oh, $500 would be great.
Check it out. It's
Yeah.
we'll check
Yeah.
this.
I know a lot of other counties are on board, because
Yeah.
you got forwarded those from the project.
Yeah.
And I talked to Todd on this, and,
Oh, good,
he's all for it.
yeah.
We're in the process
This
of
is
getting
that
grants
bridge
for
north
the
of...
Gilbert property up there.
Okay, 'cause I was trying to figure out...
Trying to get the money raised out of his budget instead of purchasing.
I'm just trying to get you to look.
Yeah.
This is that slough where there's
Kibbers
always
doesn't own it
water.
anymore. No, they just put that, because that's where it would come from.
Yeah, at conservation board meetings, that's what...
But it's just...
That's-
I mean, I would think it's a little
Yeah.
further north, I think this is a little
That's, I just wanna make
but
sure that
it's not.
the process, it's already in there.
It's already, yeah, Iowa National Heritage owns it, yeah.
And they're kinda like a bank that holds the property until the county can come up with
Yep.
funds.
I agree with you.
County,
It'll be a
conservation.
county conservation area for public hunting, whatever.
Yep, whatever we can do.
Change it, it'd just be for hunting up there, they're gonna put a park in.
No, it's just be for wildlife.
For wildlife.
And we already have, probably 120 acres north there, a half a mile.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's, you know, great, eventually you can get a lot of that land along that little creek there, it'd be an awesome area.
Well, if you'll notice on that second map, the Prairie Creek area has been, that's where they started the studies and, you know.
It's, the Prairie Creek watershed has been involved in a federal
Yeah.
water study for 10 years probably
Yeah.
already that I know of. And, they dug out the oxbows in there and trying to make more habitat. So I think it's a good project, I think we should, you know,
Sounds good.
protect some of this land for public.
Well, you guys are always real good about conservation in the county, so.
This brings up a good point too, and I'm very familiar from other things that I've gone to with the nutrient reduction plans, and some of
Yeah.
it's from the drainage, and some of it's from agriculture, and it's all kind of tied together.
Yep.
This is a step in the right direction to get you on board with that, I think.
Yeah.
It'll be beneficial that way, along with the conservation aspect, so.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's action required on this.
I'm asking you to write a letter and,
Is that kind of the copy that you've included?
last page. And it's just, Kyle Ammett said it, and he said, you know, this is what you send to show your support. So, and I don't know, do you guys have his email? I copied him when I emailed you guys on it, so.
I think it was on your email that you
Yeah,
sent us.
yeah.
Yeah, he's the one that sends out the updates on the new watershed.
Yeah, that's right. So that's just a sample letter to send out.
And you got till the 23rd, you said, that's when it's due.
Well, that's when he has to submit
Submit it to them.
them. So, you know,
You need it before then.
the sooner the better,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
So,
You don't wanna be the last one.
Yeah.
so you want me to communicate with Kyle that you're thinking about $500, or is that okay?
Yeah.
Can we do that now? Can we make a motion now?
I think
to
it's
do
good
that?
action, so.
Okay, I say we make a motion for $500 to go towards the Boone Valley, watershed.
Awesome.
I'll second that.
You want me to sign the letter now?
You're authorized him to send the letter.
Also, and,
Oh, and to,
You got one motion and second on the board right now.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
I
Aye.
All,
make a motion to authorize the chairman to sign the letter, of support.
Second. I wanna take some of it.
Okay, there we go. I didn't put it, no,
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
TC, do you happen to know how many acres the Kibitz Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation property is?
390. 390, and I'll just email you some of the stuff I talked about.
Okay.
And then you have,
Great.
yeah, you have a little more background. I'm sorry, I should have brought it, bringing you a packet of papers.
It's the same.
Hey.
Did you guys get one of these? Did you get
Well, and Peggy, let me email you on all that stuff too. It's got a,
Be north of Renwick, you know that where that bridge is, but a slough? North towards the Vernon Blacktop, it's that area on the west side of 17.
And then I'll email you. All right, yeah.
You know, basically, you just got your...
Vernon Blacktop would go west towards
A million.
below the Laverne Blacktop.
They would, on the north and south side, that's too.
South.
Be nice on that.
I think it's the south.
People could just record.
Okay, we're ready for the other one, let's go down to claims.
They just, I
Look.
got some for general here yet, but I don't know where they went to the general.
Okay, go back up to general. I just go to the center for general. Go ahead, you're up.
I just wanted to present this to you, Bruce Epstein, and then this tile project. We had a tile blow out, the 10-inch tile, it's a private tile, blew out in that section there. We got a 350-foot open ditch now in that field because of the blowout. And the only way they can fix it, go down here and dig, and it's a dredge ditch, a 350-foot dredge ditch in that field, the bars there. And so the tile he looked at, he said that's in quicksand, he said the only thing you do is put a new tile in beside it, and it's a 10-inch, and we looked at it, and it takes 160 to 200 acres of water, but 60 acres is impounding water, you can't get out of it, that's the big thing. So he said it takes an 18-inch tile, but we gotta go underneath P-19, the highway, and also the gravel road on 120. And we was wondering what your guys' rules are. And I know what Ben told me, I had to get an engineer to prove it, or it needs to be a bigger tile put underneath the road. That tile's been put in 50 years ago. Your gravel road on P 120 sits underwater 3 weeks every spring. So we know it needs to be a bigger tile. There's no doubt. So why would we go to the expense of hiring an engineer to prove that point when you guys put roadblocks out there every year? So we just wondering what the situation, when it goes to bore underneath the road. Don't hold these prices, we'll get a second bid, third bid, but we wanna know what the regulations of the county, these three landlords know. Do the county pay from road ditch to road ditch? Or do they, I know you got a set fee, but we're proving that this is needs a bigger tile, and the way I understand the rule, it's road ditch to road ditch. That's what I'm saying. I've been through this before, and I just thought I'd present it to you and ask you if that's what your thoughts, or do we have to get an engineer to approve our point?
Okay, well, we'll talk it over.
Okay, will you get back in touch with me? Because these landlords wanna go ahead with this, but they wanna know what your inputs are.
Bruce, in your knowledge, this is not a drainage district, is it? This is private.
This is a private town, this side of the drainage just starts right across the hill, you see the map there, the other side of the farm is county tile. Just in the same field, half of it is, and half of it ain't. So where this tile is, it's private tile.
Do we have copies of this that he's talking about? or-
And you guys have came out, I think, and fixed that tile once before, because it blew out, and they thought it was a county tile, and it's blown out this spring, and then it blew out again this summer. So that's the third time it's blown out, and it's just been a mess. And it's in quicksand, it's gotta be replaced. He said he dug down, and Scott Master, look at this here, he said these poor boys did a lot of work, there was a tile ditch there, and there was another tile ditch 15 feet over it, and another 30 foot of another tile ditch, they hand dug it through, they found quicksand 3 different times. So, but the landlords wanted me to come present it to you guys, and see what, if the rule is fence road, or a certain fee of $1,500 and the $5,000. Okay. But we will, if we have to, go get the engineer, but I don't know why there has to be, when you know that ground road sits underwater all the time. I mean, it's in fact, you guys put the roadblocks up every year, and it's just been worse every year, all the tile and stuff that's hooked to it. So, I just ask for somebody to get back in touch with me, so we know what we gotta do. If we gotta do further action. And it's a private tile, and this is what I wouldn't wanna do, but, you know, it's a private tile. And I think I told Eric this on the phone, you know, we can do, if it's private tile, you can do whatever you want to in your field. I'd hate to hook an 18 up to that 10.
Yeah, that one.
No, too smart.
It'd blow the road out, the ditch. So, but, that's all I got.
All right.
If you have any questions for me, or anything, just contact me anytime.
Okay.
Will I be notified this next week or so, you think, or what?
I think we can get it solved pretty rapidly, I would think.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks, Bruce.
You bet.
Remind me here, what's the second township is that again?
Watuska in a township,
Watuska section 19.
Actually,
it's where,
7?
P-19.
it's right south of 222, there, one.
Yeah, it looks like it's section 7. Okay.
Yeah, it's right above there.
Okay.
Looks like it's in that, just outside of the...
Crosses the highway there, right where the curve is. Right, it's south.
Okay.
In between sections, looks like.
Yeah.
It takes watershed of both sides of the highway when it gets down there, June's Brothers. The water comes across the road into ours. So it's servicing both sides of that.
Okay. Just a temporary start. We'll talk more about that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
I don't know what that was about.
Thank you.
You can get it stored.
I hope we can.
I mean, the TV will come on, the connection's here, but sometimes they don't talk to each other.
Where's the interconnection?
Okay, let's go down to claims right quick and get that done.
I looked and I come up with, if it's the right number, 374,838.17. I'd make a motion to approve that.
That's what I had, I'll second the motion.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, carried.
Just serve, 5 months, twice every other, twice a month, they just claims whoever.
In case you ever drove out to the Sheldon, those are the two pads that I drove out there yesterday.
Oh, if they start working.
Yeah.
You got the dirt work done on
They
it?
got the-
Oh, wow.
they got the-
Turn TV on anyway?
Sure, yeah, what connection?
They've really done good.
Well, we've got it.
I didn't realize it goes as far back
Back,
in there.
yeah, I was out there, drove out there looking to see what they'd done and haven't done nothing here a month ago.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
most
just
of
start,
The wood, or the dirt is, and stakes are out like where it's gonna be. It's gonna be neat when it's done.
give
Was
it
this
to my
like
mother.
3 weeks
I
old?
know it.
Do I get a bag?
I give these to my mother, she goes through about one a week.
Okay, next up is solutions.
I know they're not free, because I see a lot of checks with these guys.
You're right.
They're not quite free.
Perfect.
You got all ready to go?
Got it going.
That was the quickest
Keith,
one,
go
I've
ahead.
never seen that.
That's my solution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They better be good, their computers. I told you they're good.
Computer people.
They're good.
We do have to wait for mine, right?
No.
Okay.
No, they're
Some
fine.
places they say you have to wait.
Oh.
Okay.
Somebody comes in mad at 2 minutes after, we should've waited, but most of the time we're
This
good.
can't be too controversial.
Yes, we're good. So hopefully everybody had coffee, we're gonna switch gears and talk about technology. We're gonna try not to go too deep into it. If I start talking Chinese, just let me know. So, here today, my name's Adam Harris, Technical Services Manager for Solutions. We handle your IT infrastructure pretty much from top to bottom, and my team is working with a lot of your offices every day. We work with Peggy quite a bit, but we don't get the opportunity to come in here a whole lot, so thanks for having us today. I wanted to talk a little bit about your guys' business continuity, disaster recovery plan as it sits now, and a small modification that we'd like to make to that. So currently, you guys have a Datto Series 3, S3 T6000 unit. It's got 6 terabyte of storage on the unit. You've got a contract till 2021. 1.2 terabyte of local storage on that device. So you're about a quarter of capacity with room for that 15%.
You're one into Chinese for
Yeah,
me.
we're gonna break right off there. We're gonna read this list here that does not make sense, we'll go over them. But basically, the Datto has, cutting-edge features. We can actually spin up your servers if you were to have a hardware failure on the device in-house, or if there were a building failure, an issue that you couldn't work from this building, we can actually spin that up in the cloud.
Could I ask a favor of you?
Yeah.
The camera is there, could you speak from over here?
Yeah, no problem.
Otherwise, we're catching the back of your
Oh,
head.
okay, I didn't even realize.
Good job.
So on board with this system, you do get inverse chain technology, advanced backup verification. Every backup the unit takes, it actually fires up in an isolated environment. Services are tested, and it's verified that the machine boots, so we know that your backups have integrity. Hybrid virtualization, we can actually spin up in the cloud or locally, or both for comparison. Ransomware protection, now we're speaking language everybody knows. We've all heard about ransomware lately in the news. And rapid rollback, so if we do have a failure, we're able to recover quickly. The Series 4 is out now, in 2021, you guys will likely be moving to that unit. Biggest difference is it's quite a bit faster. So this breaks things down a little bit more friendly.
So this is what our people see every day. Hourly, we're watching this. On the left side, you see the servers that we're protecting. We've got your assessor server, your domain controller, which pretty much runs the environment, and your document server. On the middle there, you see those green dots. Those are verifying that we've got successful backups, the last 10 backups. And on the right is an actual screenshot of the virtualized server spun up and tested. As you see on the right, like I said, you're about 25% capacity right now, so no need to worry about growth.
Is this where you would spot, you know, like that issue you've been watching for us from the SOS?
Yep.
Yep. So those green dots, there will be like a red one if something went wrong. So that's why we constantly monitor everything that goes on in here. We've got someone specifically on alert all day, so we get alerts when something goes wrong. And what's nice about this service is that you get notified right away when something didn't work right, and then we usually are in contact with you to see what went wrong.
And it went so well because I had received the message from SOS, you answered right away, and I thought, I was just getting ready to send it to you because I'm not sure what you get and what you don't.
Yep.
And it made me feel better knowing that you were on top of it and you were
Perfect.
following it. So-
Yeah, typically we respond very quickly. We've got dedicated staff that's watching a screen at all times for all of our counties, so our response time we like to be on top of.
I couldn't do that all day.
We keep them busy. So this is where you sit today. We're protecting your servers that are in-house, and we've got a little bit of a change that we would like to make and talk about today. So Datto has introduced SaaS for Office 365. SaaS is a big term now, software as a service. You guys utilize this with Office 365 in your Exchange Online environment, and now there's a method for backing this up. So why do we need to back up data in the cloud? You know, it's with Microsoft. Right now, 1 in 3 companies have had data loss in cloud-hosted providers. 50% of those are human error. Everybody here uses email. Have we all lost an email? We know we had. With this service, you can actually go back. I know who sent it. I roughly know the keywords that were in the email. It's gone from my environment. If we have to, we can go back and get it now. So we do see a lot of accidental deletion. We do see a lot of malicious activity. But that data in the cloud does have a need to be backed up. So this actually does back up your OneDrive, your Outlook or Exchange contacts, your calendar, your complete mail environment, and your SharePoint Online. Supports HIPAA and GDPR compliance. Your data is encrypted, so it's scrambled, unreadable from end to end, and even at the hard drives at the data center, if one were to get pulled, it's inaccessible. Data controls and monitoring tools. That's big. Basically, we've got the tools on board that you can go back and audit your administrators. If you're ever in a legal challenge or environment, you can go back and you have a chain of custody of that entire environment.
In video, let's see if it's
It should work.
Welcome to Sweet Hacks for Office 365, a video series featuring quick tips to help you boost productivity in the cloud suite. Today, we're going to talk about where Microsoft falls short when it comes to avoiding SaaS data loss, and what you can do to keep your critical data secure. Microsoft's SLA states that they are not liable for data loss associated with app outages, ransomware, or deprovisioning. Even though they claim to offer native recovery features, they can be cumbersome to use, and the last thing you want to do is end up on the phone with support. So how does Microsoft recommend businesses avoid data loss? By regularly backing up data with a third-party application. Businesses fall victim to data loss and corruption every day. Want to know the #1 cause of data loss? Human error. If you have humans working at your company, then yes, you're at risk to lose data. Whether it be human error or your data simply gets deleted by Microsoft when the retention period is up, a third-party application that takes daily automated backups keeps your staff data accessible and recoverable no matter what.
She put it way nicer than I do. But we will look at Microsoft's service level agreement here real quick. She went over that. Basically, Microsoft strives to keep their services up and running. However, all online services do suffer occasional disruptions and outages. We all remember Sony's big deal when they were down a few years back. It happens to the big players too. Microsoft recommends that you regularly back up that contact with an outside source. Also from their SLA, and this is pretty relevant with counties, 90 days after a user's license is removed, their email, their data is gone. So if you have an elected official, then another elected official is coming in, they're 10 years over. That data in 90 days, once that license is gone, is irretrievable. Changes with this service. So, other reasons it could be malicious deletion. The last thing an employee does when they're disgruntled on their way out the door, they delete their email, they delete their sent items, and they delete their deleted items. They try to make any data that they've had inaccessible back to the county. Malware damage or ransomware attacks, you guys are well protected in this, but it's good to have another tool to leverage in the event that something is corrupted and goes upstream. Operational errors, we've all deleted an email on accident, and lost data due to those app licenses. Shared mailboxes, which don't require a license, are supported on this. You guys do utilize a few of those. This is a big one. Searchable mailboxes for information requests. We're seeing an uptick in information requests in all counties. It's a big thing. People come to you and they say, I need all emails related to windmills in the last 5 years. Used to be a very tedious process. With this, I can have results in 30 minutes. Litigation holds. We can go back, the day you start this, you start backups for three times a day. Verifiable, auditable, legal hold. If you guys are ever brought into court, we've got a chain of custody on those documents. So again, 3 times a day backup, unlimited storage. So as your environment grows and you take up more space in the cloud, the premium is not going to go up for this. Setup time, they claim 5 minutes, takes us about 15 minutes to get going. And your stats are available at a glance. Very similar to that first dashboard, it would just be another pane where we're successfully verifying your backups. I'm going to turn it over to Sinead. She's in the sales department. We've got the technical side covered. Sinead?
So I gave Peggy a quote. So this is kind of a 10-year plan, just because basically your backups start today, and then anything going forward is backed up. So starting out, you can pay monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, yearly, whatever you guys prefer. And then I gave the quote to Peggy, the cost is $900 a year. We do tiered pricing based on how many licenses you have. So right now, I think the county is sitting at either 23 or 24 email
right in that
licenses.
range, yeah.
And so the $900 covers all of those mailboxes for the whole year. And that covers everything that we went over, for your email, OneDrive, SharePoint, anything cloud hosted. So what's different about this is anything hosted on your Cirrus is local. That's local storage, and that doesn't cover like your email. So a lot of people think that since your email is on your desktop, like you have the app on your desktop that you use, that's still all cloud hosted storage. So that's something that's different with this, is the SaaS is just another layer of added protection. Just because the way that technology is going, everything is going cloud-based. So that's kind of what we're here to talk about today, is to add that extra layer to your protection plan for your business continuity.
Is there any questions?
Well, being the computer guru I am, Peggy,
You are.
I'm assuming this is...
We could be our next IT guy.
That's right.
I could be, but I don't think they'd wanna try to unscramble the mess that I could create. Yeah, well, if you ever see me work a keyboard, you'd say, we don't want anything to do with it. I delete a lot, backspace. I'm assuming your thoughts are we need this protection? I mean, that's what I'm asking.
It's a scary world out there.
I know it is.
And things are not like they used to be. And the more protection that we have, the better off it is. Because if we lose our data, and if it gets somehow into the ransomware area and you have to try to buy it back, I mean, it gets...
You hear that on the news quite often, cities...
And you think, small community, maybe it wouldn't happen, but a lot of times they'll pick on the small communities because they think you don't have
the protection.
security there. And they're always saying with our election stuff, make sure that you have that backup there, because somebody's gonna try to slip into your network and then get onto the equipment.
$900 could be cheap insurance for something down the road.
Yeah.
So where are you guys, where are you out of?
We're out of Spencer.
Yep, and then everything that's backed up, is saved in the United States. There's what are they called?
2 data centers in the United States, separated by region, so if there were a disaster on one side of the country, your data's resting on the other side as well.
So everything is in the United States. Maybe some people can talk about that.
Yeah.
Any other questions? you.
If you do have questions, let us know, we are your IT providers. So, I know we talked a lot with Peggy, so if you guys have any concerns, you can always ask Peggy if you guys need anything, so.
And I can't give these guys enough kudos for their service and their professionalism when you call with anything, no matter what it is. They're there to help.
Thank you.
Well, I'm impressed that they walk in and make that thing work.
I know,
Because usually we go on like a 12, 15-minute break waiting for, we had wires, balls, we just sit here and look like, are you serious?
No pressure either when the IT people crash your TV.
Yeah. Maybe we should have you put a piece of tape on, connect to this wire.
Yeah.
Perfect.
If you do have any questions during board meetings, you can probably just give us a call.
Yeah, we can get somebody on the phone with you, so.
So if you ever run into that again, we can usually help you with that.
Just call them out, that way you don't have to buy the book TV for Dummies.
It usually happens when somebody comes in at the last minute, wants to do a presentation, and it's like, okay, good luck,
That's why you had the same look, Peggy, when they said, can we hook up to the TV? You're like, yeah, you can.
Try it. Perfect. Well, we appreciate it, talk to the offices while we're here, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Hopefully the rain stops.
We could use a little.
Yeah, we could use it.
That's got a regular.
Oh, of course.
So I'm thinking $900.
I'd almost hire them from my house.
I know, I was kind of thinking that. I had to call one from them, my email, so I could get something to work. And after I was talking to the guy, so, it was something really,
Simple.
it was.
Peggy, so they cover
I mean, it was
everything
really
in the
nice about
courthouse?
it.
Yes,
Every office, every,
every computer that's there, it's coming.
Coffee today? Warm,
Sure.
I don't know, it's warm, so.
I know.
Computers up at community services that belong to
Yep,
community
you drifting off yet?
Got some.
services. Or on a different network.
Brought some from the office.
so in your opinion, that's, I mean, what, the bang for our buck, we're getting that's pretty recent.
And everything I go to as far as IT connected, and if it's cybersecurity or ransomware meetings or whatever they say, things are getting to the point where we'll probably get that
Find out, they're finally doing some work.
A year or two, yeah.
Who is it? Well, that's.
Getting to be too much for just one person to do, and who has no knowledge of a lot of stuff.
It's scary out there, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, there is.
I mean, I get
I think
stuff
everybody
online,
gets
and I'm like, going, I didn't click on that, what's going, just stupid stuff like that, and then I'll get a spam thing up,
It's interesting that they have backup for cloud.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what
Oh,
I
it used to be the backup, now they got the backup for the backup.
Yeah, that's the whole, kind of reason for it.
Well, and being on the ISAC board, they have different stuff stored in many different places also, in different backups like that. Because they don't wanna lose any of their stuff either, because they've got a lot of computer stuff that they do down there.
Right.
Well, you have the most interaction, the way it sounds, so in your opinion, I guess I'm asking, putting you on the spot, is your opinion is, we need to do this, and
I think it's a good start.
it's a good start as to,
Yep.
then we can have action on it, right? I'd make a motion to accept their quote for the $900 and move forward with it and get it started.
Disaster recovery plan?
I'd just second that motion, think it's a good idea.
Yep.
Compared to all the other IT money we spend, that's pretty reasonable.
I know, I was kinda surprised that.
$900 a year?
I know, I was
It's a
really
no-brainer.
surprised with that, yeah, pretty cheap insurance.
Thanks for all your input.
Yes, thanks, Peggy.
Yes.
Any other discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Good deal.
The computer guy sends it through me.
You're pretty honest. You said it would be.
Anyway,
I would tell you.
Look at somebody else.
well, that's why I figured I'd ask.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Good deal.
Let's move down to authorize chairman to sign required documents for a loan for the cabin shelter. I'm scheduled to do that. Tour the site area on the 22nd.
I snooped yesterday, Dave, I drove out by Sheldon and went out back in there, 'cause I was looking to see where these things were gonna be, and they got the pad, dirt work's done, they're, a lot of electrical sewer, they got, they've got some stakes out that I'm assuming is kind of the location of how it's gonna sit on these pads, and, I mean, I haven't been up in there, it's really gonna be pretty neat.
It's a nice area back in there, very nice.
It looks like there's plenty of room if they wanna add more on.
Oh, yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
Well, they got a lot of acres back
Need
there.
to get out there.
And, I'm driving along there, and there's 3 deer standing over there, kinda laughing like, what are you up here for? You know, it's just so quiet up in there,
Is this
it's
west of the existing campground up there?
The newer campground up on top of the hill,
be
it's
south
southwest.
and,
South.
south,
Go
no,
all the
it'd be
way
south
back-
and east, wouldn't it?
South and east, excuse me, southeast. Go clear back in the corner, we got a new little road that goes back in there.
Just follow
Lots of new
the gravel down and along the edge, right along the tree line, you'll
Yeah.
drive right to it.
There'll be a lot of new camper hookups back in there. I don't know how many sites more they're adding, but there's quite a bunch.
It is.
20, I think you said 28.
They got a nice little loop back in there.
I think at 4 o'clock yesterday, there was still half a dozen to 10 campers still sitting in there for, so they must have had the dumpster was full, they must have had a pretty good weekend of people there.
Oh, beautiful weather.
Most of these parks that have those little cabins, I don't think they have any trouble renting them, you know?
That was the discussion.
Yeah, I think they'll be full.
When you go through Winnisburg, you go over by the casino, and the casino sits here, and the lake's up here. If you take that road right up past the casino, East Drive, or West Drive, and you come up to the lake, they got a little campground in there, they got 2 of the cabins sitting there. And
Similar to-
building, you could see them, what they are, really nice.
These are gonna be nice too.
Yeah.
Well, we had
Last door on over.
this terrific discussion,
Yeah, I gotta do that to the 9 o'clock on the 20th.
and I would make the motion to authorize the chairman to sign the required documents for the loan for the cabins at Sheldon Park.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All carried.
Heck, I'm so excited about them, I might go rent one when they get them built, because I don't wanna buy a camper.
It's a lot cheaper than buying a camper.
Oh, I do,
yeah.
I don't care what they charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, discussion on, you wanna move on to that one, or you
Well,
wanna wait and have trouble?
I think we have Doug Marshall want to come up and sit in on this when we have that discussion, and he was gonna be in there at about 9:45, he thought.
Okay, we'll hold off.
We can hold off on
He's
that.
got the info, I think,
Yeah.
some stuff.
I called him up and wanted to get his thoughts on it, you know, being for running their business, so.
Get down to committee report.
Read for last week, no official meetings.
Okay, on, Tuesday, I was out to the new rec center, and the governor and lieutenant governor come to visit.
It didn't take long to get us a picture of that.
I know, that turned out nice.
You're dealing with the governor, you get him fast, or what?
Yeah.
It's on my phone, and make a copy and put it in frame.
Oh, it's a nice picture.
Yeah, it is a nice picture, nice looking group.
I'd have looked really stupid, 'cause I thought about it Wednesday, come walking in there thinking, well, where is everybody?
And then at 6:30 on Tuesday evening, we had a dog pound shelter meeting, City Hall. And then on Thursday morning, Bank Iowa Economic Development meeting. And then Friday morning, I went out and visited with some people on D number 3, over by 4. Some drainage issues the landowner had out there. That's what I done.
Thursday, 6 o'clock, Thursday night, I went to Fort Dodge met with, a group of guys from the CFR. They're getting ready to put together and this isn't on, I don't think it's a top secret, but they're putting together for a dinner for all of the workers down at CFR for the movement from 3 different buildings into the one. So they're gonna do a dinner for all of the people that had a...
Kind of appreciation.
Yeah, appreciation type deal, so all of the board people are gonna go down there, and so I got elected to help them try to coordinate this, so. And then Saturday and yesterday, I went and did some driving around, checking some roads and some mowing areas, which we'll discuss later.
Monday after the meeting, I went and talked to Ben about the leadership, training class, webinars or, through online. And he is interested in doing it, but right now, he's too busy with everything going on. And I did look into, there is a class starting in January. And, so I think that'll probably be more conducive even to my schedule with everything going on. So I think we'll both get us signed up then for the January one. And then,
We won't lose our money.
no, we will not lose, no, because it's just, the first person that, goes to it, the county gets that,
Discount.
Yeah, just whenever it is they do it. And I'll get a hold of Kevin, who's with NACO, I'll get a hold of him just to confirm that. But, and then, Tuesday I was out at the rec center for the government. And then Tuesday night, I went to the Fort Dodge Senior High. They had a, NAMI. Basically, it's a mental health organization that they used to have in Fort Dodge, and it encompasses, Humboldt. It's like 6 counties around. Yeah, right, Webster, anyway, they have a really good, program to help with people. Royce White, he was, an Iowa State basketball player, and then he went to the NBA and has, battled depression since he was in high school. And it was a great program. He is, actively working with them and everything, so I think it's just awareness thing. And he's really into helping that organization. I think it's a really good thing for us to get involved with too, so I'm gonna try to get involved with that also, to be a part of the County Social Services is also kind of helping to get it started in Fort Dodge also, so I'll do what I can to get that going too.
Was it pretty well attended?
It was very well attended. I put on my Facebook, I was hoping that there was a few people from Humboldt.
Yeah, we've been kind of promoting it in the papers, so
Yeah.
it's interested in who was all attending.
It was, yeah, the little theater, I don't know if it was 3/4 full. Oh my gosh, it was hot that day. And I decided to sit down front, of course, the big old blowers didn't reach down much.
And waving your fan.
Oh, yeah. But it was so interesting. I mean, just to hear him talk, I could have listened to him. He talked for probably a good 45 minutes, he went over his time. Very passionate, very caring. And then he talked to people before, he talked to people afterwards. He was there probably an hour after the program, I want to say, talking with people and trying to get them to see the importance of it. That is it.
Did you get that email I sent you on manpower down there?
Yes, I did. I got that, yep. And I emailed her back to let her know that I need to be on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I emailed her back.
I looked and I didn't see your name.
Nope, I didn't get that one, so I emailed her back and asked her to make sure. Yep, thank you.
Alright, Monday, went out and talked to Ben, and went over and talked to Todd Lee. Went out and looked at the garbage that they was complaining about dumped out there. It turned out to be a burn barrel somebody dumped. Wasn't any steel in it, but there was 2 or 3 cans, beer cans, like food wrapper. Then I went out and got the food truck up to the food pantry. Nothing about that. Tuesday, went up, we're used the rec center with the governor, lieutenant governor. And Tuesday night, they had an animal meeting down at City Hall. That looks like all I had official.
Did everybody catch yesterday's Fort Dodge paper? They had Bob Wolf was on the front page. His, was the reporter from the Messenger that used to be here. If you didn't get it, it's a pretty good article, and must be getting ready to move to a smaller place, and he's having to get rid of some of his rock collections and stuff that he had, so. Yeah, so it's a pretty interesting article.
We're back up to not military yet. But I don't think anybody complained, we'll back up to bed.
You gonna complain then?
No.
Okay.
Morning.
Morning.
We've got a few things on the agenda for today. The first is to approve an application to work in the right-of-way with Precision Drainage, Bill Mansky's company. They are doing a ag drainage well closure west of town. It's on 240th Street between Delaware and Elm. I believe it's Fallison's is the one that they're doing right now. Our blade operator spotted that they were out there working and getting close, and we didn't have anything for a permit. So I stopped out last week and talked to the hoe operator. Bill was on vacation. The only thing that I'm waiting for is a proof of their insurance, which I know they've got it, we just don't have one on file. But yeah, this is basically, application to work in the right of way for them to do two private tile crossings, on 240th.
It's two crossing?
They had to do that.
I'm not sure if
Because of the height issues.
do you guys have I've got one of their drawings at the office. They've got one big sweeping tile. The east one is gonna be their deep one, and then they've got a shallow crossing on the west side of it. It's like a lateral, off of their main line.
And they both cross the same road.
They both cross the same road, so they'll just close 240th between Delaware and Elm,
Same time.
and do it at the same time.
How big a pipes are these ones around?
It doesn't list on the permit here, but on their drawing, I wanna say what they had out there was 15 or 18-inch dual wall is what their one lateral was coming up, and then they'll run concrete underneath the road. I had a conversation with Rick Hopper last week. The only question that I had is basically who's gonna be doing this inspection, since we didn't know anything about it, and Jacobson Westergaard drew up some of the plans for it. Rick said that they would take care of inspection as far as the one deep crossing, making sure that Mansky backfills in 18-inch lifts like we would for any kind of bridge replacement project. Otherwise, if nobody's there to watch it, that's when you start getting 4 and 5 foot lifts, and the road ends up settling over time for years, yeah. So, Rick said he'd be out there, but we'll probably make a guest appearance.
Good.
So,
2 eyes is better than one.
yeah.
I make a motion to approve the application for the right-of-way for Precision Drainage.
Second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
The next the next two items on the agenda are to approve pay vouchers for Manats Inc. These are for the extra work orders that we signed 2 weeks ago, I believe, for pavement smoothness and quantity overrun. You guys have a copy of our voucher that shows what the payments are. The farm to market project was like $78,000, I believe.
$994.
Yes.
Six.
And the STP project was somewhere around 15,000.
15,956.
So this is the sub-final for the farm to market job. There'll be one last payment, which is retainage. The STP job, there will be one more pay voucher before the final, and that will be, the extra work order that is a couple down the line, the change order number 4. So,
All right, I'll make a motion for pay vouchers to Manats in the amount of $78,994.86 and $15,956.50.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Yeah, on the one, there's, 101, so is the 98%, is it? This, the first one, that's 78,000, it says 98% complete, and the second one is 101, is that a little overrun, or what?
We had a little bit overrun on probably the PC quantity.
So that's what I'm saying, is this one gonna be like a 10?
It'll be, yeah, the farm to market one will be a little bit higher from the looks of that. We've got 75% paid on the construction staking. That's because we're still waiting for our copies of the recorded section corners. They've replaced the section corners, we just haven't gotten the paperwork for us to, usually what they do is they take it over to the recorder's office and file it, and then we get a copy of the filed section corners to go in our office for when the surveyors come out to our office.
I drove that over the weekend, that's a smooth coffee ride.
That is a nice road.
You can have it lit off your coffee, and there is not
Very nice.
any humps in that, it's nice, they did a nice job.
It's white smoothness.
Yeah, it turned out very well, both projects did. With that, I'll jump down to approve change order number 4 to Manats Inc. This is a change order for a reduction in, basically it's a reduction in quantities where they ran a little bit thin coming into, Rutland. What happened was they have, profile mill, and the milling contractor didn't follow the profile. We didn't see it till it was basically the very end of the last day. And, this is a reduction for the square footage that was less than 5 inches thick, which is what we're paying for, is 5 inches. So basically, we hammered them on liquidated damages for going thin. In the event that these panels start cracking or breaking up, we've got money set aside to patch it.
Okay.
So that's basically what change order.
What's the approximate distance of this concern?
The square footage is about 1,700 square foot. Just north of the stop sign there on the Rutland corner, it's about, 40, what is it? All right, so the concrete less than 5 inches is, about 73 feet long.
Both sides?
Yeah. Yep.
Be about down into the, not hardly does it, in the middle of that dip.
What's that?
I say it's probably not even to the middle of that dip.
No, it's right as you take off, you go about, I think it's about 100 feet. It's right where the radiuses come back in, is basically where they went thin. So for whatever reason, the milling guy started at the top and just kinda winged it. And we've got some spots where it narrows all the way down to like 3 3/4 inches. That stuff, we hammered them 50%, and the, stuff that was between 4 and 5 inches, we hammered them, another 25%.
Oh, so that's what the difference is down here at the
So
bottom, 16.
that's what you see at the
Okay.
bottom, so we had 600 square foot, that was, the thinner 3.5 inch,
Okay.
and then we had 1,100 foot, that was between 4 and 5 inches. I'm not concerned with the stuff that's between 4 and 5 inches. When we started doing these overlays, we were only putting 4 inches down. The stuff that is between 3.5 and 4 inches, we might get 10 years out of it before we start seeing any cracking. We might get the full life out of it.
Is that closer to the stop sign or farther away from the stop sign?
It's farther away from the stop sign. It's just north of where the radius
That's right,
ends
isn't it
out.
when you come to the stop, isn't that when it starts to...
That's where you're sitting,
Yeah.
as far as, that's when you're gonna have your point load on the
Well, it's a good thing
panels.
it's not so close.
So you've got rolling traffic through there, but this covers us if it does start to crack, that we can hire a contractor to do the repair.
Okay, good.
I mean, just, not to get overly technical, but, you know, God forbid that it's a short term and there's issues, obviously there's money here to fix it. Would the fix be to tear it up, mill it down, and put the correct thickness back in there?
Yeah, we probably tear it up, tear the asphalt out underneath it, and pour like 8 to 12 inches thick, full depth concrete in its place.
I mean, if push came to shove,
Yes.
it did.
Yep, we would do full depth sawing and put in 8 to 12 inches of concrete.
So hopefully it doesn't happen, it's too bad it did.
Right.
Glad you caught it.
Right.
Thank you.
And after talking to them, we both agreed that basically in the future, we'll just have them tear out before they move in, or before they move out. Anything that we see that doesn't meet what it's supposed to, rather than penalize them later, we'll just tear it out right then and there. So.
Okay.
So do we second?
All in favor?
Wait, I don't remember us making them, I didn't think, that's what I was gonna say. I'll make the motion to, approve the change order for Manette, number 4.
Being Sandy wants to be technical, I'll second it now.
Look, I'm finally catching on, hey!
Sorry, I jumped the discussion portion of it.
Now in favor?
Aye. That makes Peggy happy then.
Yep.
The last official item that I have on the agenda is to approve the purchase of winter blades from Ziegler. I believe I've attached a copy of our most recent prices for the past few years. These are better blades and cheaper blades than what we can get from the DOT.
If we just don't purchase any, then the snow won't come?
I'm fine with that if we can, because the cheapest thing that we can do in the winter is leave the machines parked.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Oh, mercy.
It ends up being about $20,000 worth of blades. This is basically restocking what we went through last year. I did not bring the numbers with me. It ends up being about 120 blades between the four categories.
Well, the good thing is comparatively, and for your chart, it's less than last year's.
Yeah, it's less than the last 2 years. It is more expensive than what we paid in 2016, but significantly less than what we paid the last couple of years.
I would make a motion to approve purchase of the winter blades from Ziegler.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, it carries, I guess.
Other than that, we've got, I've got one item that's not on the agenda. I don't believe that it needs to be on the agenda, but we are applying for some traffic safety funds, and I need the board and the auditor to sign off that we're in responsible charge if, in the event that we get the funding. What we're looking at is, flashing red, beacon to go above the stop sign on the Eagle corner, where we've had a number of fatalities and a number of accidents where they've blown through P-66 coming from Eagle Grove. We're also...
By the golf course there?
Yeah. That comes, what is it? C-54 that comes running from Eagle Grove west, where it tees into P-66, the Thor Road. We've had, two recent fatalities.
In the last 5 years.
And a number of close calls and a number of accidents where people, for whatever reason.
And it's wide open, there's no
Yeah.
building.
No, there's nothing. There's
People just
strips.
don't realize
We've
that
done-
road there or something, not familiar with it, or...
We've done all kinds of things to try and improve the safety there. I know the state has used these in a couple of locations, but they're about $2,000 per. So we're looking for some funding for that and, solar.
They're just
The new ones are solar powered. So we were looking at there, we were looking at the Badger Corner, where it intersects the Thor White Top, and then also Lone Tree, where people have blown through that.
Good idea.
So, we're looking at 3 locations. It's
Which one on Lone Tree?
the north end,
North end, where they show
where
you the team.
Bulverdine, where they blow right through the
Yeah.
Bulverdine
They
location.
just put a giant sand trap there like they do in the
Oh, my
mountains.
gosh.
They're in there all the time.
I know.
They are, yeah, so those are the 3 locations that we're looking at offhand, and I believe we have to have it turned in by Thursday. But we won't know,
Yeah.
and we won't get the funding for a year,
Okay.
so we're trying to apply for it. If we don't, we'll probably just go on our own and spend the money, but if we can get state money, why not?
Good idea.
Like up there on Lone Tree Road, a simpler fix would just be to put a pipe in and fill the ditch in, so they just fly out into the cornfield.
Right.
And you got the down guys there for full.
Yeah, they got guy wire, 'cause they always hit the guy wire.
Well, whoever went through with a side-by-side here about 2 months ago narrowly missed. I think they went in between the guy wire and the pole, yeah.
I seen that, yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty fortunate. I didn't know it was a side-by-side, that's what it was.
I'm assuming that's what it was, 'cause it was pretty narrow tire track.
The way it
And
looked.
they got out of the field.
Yeah.
It was a little muddy, and the guy still got out.
Yeah, did a couple of donuts and then went out through that lady's yard,
Yeah.
so.
We just need to
I
get
just,
signed off on that.
so that I need Peggy and Dave to sign off on our behalf. He didn't get it done till Friday, otherwise I might have put it on the agenda.
So we need to put that on for next week? Authorize that, or not?
Depends
I
on, do
can-
you need do you need something in the record to show that?
I don't,
Okay.
Otherwise, we can just
like I said,
sign it and...
if they reject us for whatever reason, we'll probably just try and run it through.
Right.
With claims for us, because there has been fatalities on the one.
Yeah, I wouldn't think there'd be an issue.
You mentioned, yeah.
I know that one we'd probably definitely do, then we'd probably take a harder look at the number of accidents we've actually had on the other 2 incidents.
Well, you mentioned that I've always appreciated applying for state money,
Right.
you know, or whatever, for whatever. But you said it'd take a year for them to come up with any.
Right, so basically, the time frame is we apply for it by Thursday. We find out in January on whether or not we are awarded the funding, and the funding would be available July 1st.
I would think they would at least look at the ones with the
I'm
fatalities.
just curious, that even in the interim of waiting to find out about the money, if you don't put the, warning sign up sooner, does it make any difference? Can you do it and then get reimbursed if they...
Probably not.
We have to wait. We have to wait to find out if we're approved.
Actually.
So, now, what I don't know, we can see if January, if we are approved, we can probably try and touch base with them then and say, look, can we go ahead and purchase these and put them up now? And just get reimbursed when the funding's available
I
in
think you
July,
should.
like you're saying.
I'm saying-
Once we get approved, or disapproved, then we'll know where to, we'll go. So, we know by January whether or not we're paying for this ourselves, or if the state is, and if we can put them up sooner. So,
My point is, yeah, the sooner the better.
Right.
If you see a need, and you can explain it pretty simply.
well, beyond that, I don't know what else we can do. I mean, we put the
But I don't know if they'll even
bids...
notice these if they don't notice the rumble strips.
Right,
And,
You know,
These are the flashing...
These are the flashing red beacons that sit right above the stop sign.
Haven't been because of fog.
No, it's been clear day, it's driver distraction.
At that point of anything that flashes...
Yeah, it does catch your eye a little bit better than something that don't.
Right. I mean, so,
What about one of those stop signs that have lights all the way around it, you know, you see those?
same thing.
It is the same kind of
They
thing.
call your attention.
Same purpose, I mean,
More noticeable than a flashing red light.
and it's just as expensive, if not more. I mean, I think those LED stop signs that have about the 8 LED lights on them, they're just as expensive
Are they?
as these.
And they're solar too, I think, aren't they?
Right.
Yeah,
So-
similar to the one on Fifth Street there, you know, where this goes off to the, St. Mary's School, you know, there. They've been waiting for 10 months or whatever, you know, and they still haven't gotten it in or whatever, so I don't know if they're big in demand or what, but.
Yeah, there's a company out of Texas that we've talked to about getting them.
I know there's that one lady at the hospital down for that, because
Yes.
you're leaving that area, you know, and it's just like,
Now pay attention.
yeah.
Well, I think it's a good
Nice,
idea,
yeah.
needed in something, you know, the spots that you
Yeah,
mentioned.
definitely.
Just hate to, you know, of course, everything's for the state as you do wait, but,
Right.
I mean, you'll find out by January, if you can avoid a serious accident by...
Like I said, I know there's been serious injuries on the one. The other two, there's just been accidents and near misses. I mean, somebody hit that new power pole on the Badger corner, glanced off of that.
That big
That
steel one?
big steel one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. They glanced off the side of that one.
Yep.
So,
Now you hit that dude dead on it,
you're not moving much, yeah.
All the way in the ground.
That is.
Yeah, and
We wanna talk about this Mansky thing at all, just conversation on that?
Sure.
Up there by...
Understand
On which
contact.
Well, he wants to put an 18 underneath the blacktop, I believe.
Are you talking, you're talking, Bruce Hefty.
Yeah.
Bruce Hefty, yeah.
Bruce was in this morning. Bruce doesn't wanna play by the rules as far as, following the county's policy with regards to the road tile crossing. What they've got is they've got a 10-inch right now that isn't functioning properly, so they've got it dug up out in the field. While they're doing it, they're looking at swapping their 10-inch out for an 18-inch. It runs under the road and dumps into Martinzog's Pond, if I remember correctly. I handed him everything that he needed to do work in the right-of-way permit for the road crossing. Showed him that basically the gravel road would be covered for $1,500. The paved road, we would cover up to $5,000 towards the cost of a boring. And he said, well, you know, what about following the Iowa code with regards to a tile crossing? So I gave him a copy of 468.6, which basically says he's got to hire an individual engineer that does a drainage assessment to prove to us that the 10-inch is inadequate for the number of acres that are running through it. He's got to file a petition with the auditor's office to have a hearing on the drainage. I mean, there's 8 steps that he's got to follow. Well, he doesn't want to follow that, he just wants us to pay for everything. So, he came in after he dropped this off here. I said, I'll talk to the board, but, basically, the county has the option of doing the work ourselves, as opposed to paying $30,000 to have somebody bore it. We can open cut the road and dig down 10 feet or whatever and put concrete in under the roadway, and then they can just hook onto it on either side with their tile. We do not pay for the tile line that they're talking about running. That's private tile out in the field. It's not part of a drainage district. It's all private. So, yeah, I think Bruce is trying to do an end around, but,
Sorry. Well, this is not a drainage district, we know.
Right.
But this, I think, harkens back a little bit to drainage code, because
yes,
they're contending, it's a 10-inch tile now.
right.
It's undersized, okay. But if it's upsized, he's coming up with some idea that if it needs a bigger tile, then that somehow puts the bigger tile responsibility back to the county to install. And I don't quite understand, I believe...
Only under the roadway. Only from right-of-way to right-of-way. And that's where you'd have to hire an individual engineer that would prove that the 10-inch that's there is inadequate.
But is there something in code, drainage or right-of-way or otherwise, that says, is there a differential between, someone just wanting, your normal under-the-road, through-the-road policy, somebody just wants to go in and get the culvert, or, the cement and the tile going through it, and get the permit, that's fine, versus why is there more cost involved if you upsize the tile? Why should where's that differential? I don't quite understand that.
I'm not
Because he's saying if it was...
the question is.
Well, if it remained a 10-inch, you go back to the policy of road crossing.
If it remained a 10-inch, we'd leave what was there in place, we don't do anything. So if he hires an individual engineer and says, you've only got 100 acres that drain this direction, that 10-inch is more than adequate.
Right.
Then we leave it as is.
Okay.
If the drainage engineer comes back and says, you know what, for that 100 acres, you probably should have larger than a 10-inch, like an 18, and they go through the process of having a formal hearing and filing with the auditor's office to have that hearing, then they've proved that they need to have an 18-inch, and then at that point, the county can say, okay, well, we're gonna bore under the road, we'll pay the cost to bore under the road, $30,000 or whatever it is, and you can hook on to either side of it, or the county will allow you to open cut the ditch, and we'll pay the actual cost to dig from point A to point B, or if it's shallow enough, the county will say, we'll do it ourselves. So.
I'm still a little confused on normal tile crossing, and Ben gets... Gets allowed. We've had him come in front of us, and he's got the permit, and everything's fine, and the landowner's asking private tile to have access to go through the road, one way or the other, and we grant it, and they install the tile, from one field to another, and get reimbursed the policy numbers, okay, and then done deal. And
Same size.
yeah,
Right.
but I mean, or they're putting in whatever size. There's one we approved, within the last couple of years, it was a new construction. They just wanted to get from one field across the road into the other, and it was fine.
Right.
Why is this different? Because I'm seeing, we're going past...
Doug's here, most people want the quick and dirty, if you're cutting through a gravel road, you cover the $1,500, it basically covers the cost of the material plus some of the labor to do the crossing. Or the, up to $5,000 for boring under the roadway. Last I knew, when... Yes, thank you. When Trask was looking at boring underneath the highway north of Renwick, his bid to bore under the highway was something between $10,000 and $11,000. So we were covering $5,000 of that cost to bore under the highway. Most people don't want to go through the formal hearing process and pay to hire an individual engineer, because they're not gonna provide their services for free to prove what size. They have to determine how many acres are gonna be coming across the road at that point, and what size it should be at, what size is adequate, The 10-inch that's under the road right now, is that providing a half-inch drainage coefficient, or an inch? That's a decision that you guys always make when you're putting in a new drainage district main. This is basically an individual private tile main that he's looking at running under the road right now, so.
Right.
I didn't put it on the agenda because I have gotten nothing from him. I dropped everything off to him last Wednesday or Thursday.
I know what you're looking at.
I'm still trying to get where the idea that if it needs to be bigger, per an engineer's report, why does that go to, all right, you may have to, the secondary roads, county may have to stand the entire cost of putting in new, larger Just the road tile.
Just from our right-of-way to our right-of-way. Basically, we're receiving and conveying that water from property A to property B.
So you do follow that, if it has to be upside, there's a potential of standing the whole liability, the whole cost of it?
The whole cost of going across our roadway?
Yeah.
I understand it. Bruce doesn't want to do the steps that are required by Iowa code to get there.
And then basically you're back to, you could get the reimbursement as per the policy. If you want, if they wanna determine that they need an 18-inch tile, they're gonna get...
They'll get an individual engineer and go through all of these.
Well, or if they don't wanna go that route, they're gonna have to follow the policy that is $1,500 for secondary and $5,000 boring under a primary.
Right.
So,
I mean, I haven't seen it. What did he drop off?
Oh, it's just, he just, dropped this off and said they wanna put an 18 underneath underneath blacktop.
Okay, so his estimation is that it'd be $30,000 towards secondary roads.
Yeah, he says these are just estimates, he says they're just estimates.
What happens if the engineer comes in and they determine that, no, the 10 inch is fine, but he said he was gonna go ahead and put an 18, so if you put an 18 or a 10, what's gonna happen?
He just reduces the size there, and basically it constricts water back into his field until it can drain through the 10-inch.
Okay.
But that's why he said if I hook an 18 and bring it over the road and try to put an 18 onto a 10 going underneath the road, it's gonna cause damage to your road.
I don't know that it'd cause damage to our road, but it would back water
Well,
up.
it wouldn't do any good.
18-inch tile's not gonna work very well.
No, it's kind of a waste of money.
The 18-inch would only work as well as the 10-inch.
10-inch is gonna allow the water to escape from it.
But getting the grasp of this is like when they put a new project in, it's a new project. Here, there's already an existing one,
Right.
and if it's not necessary for having a bigger pipe, why put the county through that expense if there isn't a necessity for the bigger pipe?
Well, majority of the permits that we get for working in the right-of-way is replacing an existing line, and they put a new one in right next to it.
You don't have a copy, you can keep...
Most of the time, though, the guys are looking at just getting reimbursed for what their cost is under the road, whether it's the 1,500 or half of the cost of boring under the highway.
In those circumstances, the size that they're putting in usually never comes into question.
No, because they're just looking at getting the quick and dirty, they don't have to hire an engineer. Basically,
Because
the way our policy is written is basically, we don't ask any questions on those as far as what they're putting in.
Bruce would say, we'll take the 5,000, do it, you don't have any questions.
We don't have any questions.
No, because it doesn't, as long as they do it properly,
Right.
whether they put back in the same size or a bigger size, as long as they do it properly, that's fine.
Then, yeah, we don't care.
But he's trying to
as far as secondary
contend, if
roads.
it's a bigger size, then, you know, the county's paying for right-of-way to right-of-way.
Bigger, for a bigger...
He wants the full bill, no matter
He
what.
wants it all paid for because it's gotta be bigger.
He wants all of what paid for?
The whole crossing.
The whole crossing.
The whole crossing
Okay.
bigger, because they're making the tile bigger.
Yeah.
And I don't-
That's their
and I don't do
choice.
that.
That's their choice to go bigger on their side. What they have to prove is that what's there is inadequate.
Well, say that, you know, go the whole route of hiring an engineer, looking at their project.
Having a hearing, yep.
Go through the whole process, and it says, yep, it does need to be a bigger tile underneath the road.
Right.
Or system needs to be bigger. Does that still put us, the county, the secondary roads, in a position of having to go from right-of-way to right-of-way?
Instead of 5,000, we have to pay the whole bill.
Yes, if they follow all of the steps of the Iowa Code in chapter 468.
And you do have to stand the cost of the crossing.
Then we have to stand the cost of the crossing.
One way or
But
the other.
that's where we have the option of whether or not we hire a company to come in and do the boring, or we open cut the road, and the, you know, I mean, you open cut the road, I'll talk to the guys that do it, you know, what's the cost of open cutting a paved road and going 90 foot? I have no idea on depth of this, 'cause I haven't seen any of their plans, but let's say it's 10 feet deep.
Yeah.
10 grand?
10 grand, probably, I would say, without the asphalt. right there somewhere.
Okay, so if I hired, if the county hired Doug to do the crossing, we'd pay him 10 grand plus our cost to do the asphalt later, another 5. It'd be half of what the boring cost is right now, as far as their estimate.
Well,
But I mean, if he goes through all the process, and it's determined that we need a larger tile there for the amount of acres that are draining, then the county looks at what our next, which way do we want
Okay,
to
so
go?
there is, now, he's not...
there's an avenue here for him to go through this process. This
Yeah.
process,
But they,
go through.
the determination is on the landowner to come up with that.
Right.
It's his responsibility.
Their responsibility to get the engineering report.
To prove that what's there isn't.
And,
Otherwise, they can get the permit and they can put in whatever size tile they want.
Right.
They don't-
And if they're just going for the quick 1,500, or in this case, the 5,000, we don't ask any
you
questions.
know, you could put a 30-inch in there, we don't care.
Right.
As long as it's done.
As long as it's bored correctly.
All right.
Exactly.
So, it's really up to them to make that decision if they wanna pursue the legality of it, or just say, hey,
Yes, him dropping this off this morning was trying to go around
can't do it.
what the Iowa code says, so.
Okay. Just wanna get it cleared up.
Yeah,
That helps,
yeah.
that, I did,
Yeah. Yeah, all right. Now we go, we check into it, and then we get back to him, so.
Okay.
well, Ben pretty much told him what the protocol is.
That's the conversation that I had with him, 'cause he came out to our office after he dropped it off, so.
Anything else for Ben?
We just got a we got that work session.
Oh, yeah. Maybe a month or so ago, I had contact from the school, they wanted to get us, to slow the traffic coming down in from a Wildcat Road.
Yes.
And Greg Garland was up here this morning visiting with us. And, and you mentioned at that time, you'd be glad to put the sign in, but we don't have any 45-mile-an-hour signs.
Yes, yes. We installed the post a month ago, and I talked to Travis with the city, and then one of the city guys, Euban. I talked to Euban, and their plan was they had to order the sign, but then they were gonna do the shuffle and basically move the reduced speed ahead sign out to where the new wooden post is, and the 45 or 25 mile an hour sign that they had to order, put that up. I have not been out there to see if it's been installed yet, but we've done it on our side. We've installed the post and it's on to the city, so, yeah.
I thought we were working on it.
Yeah,
But I didn't wanna tell him.
No, we did our portion. We installed the sign, or the sign post, and we're waiting for the city.
How far out would we go with the sign?
The same distance between so we had a reduced speed sign, and then I think it dropped down to 25. And that was between 500 and 700 feet. We went an additional 500 or 700 feet out into the county.
1,000 feet anyway.
But it's not gonna, I mean, the only way it's gonna slow traffic down is if they post a sheriff's vehicle out there to slow the people down as they're coming.
Start writing a few tickets, that slows them.
Right.
Absolutely,
Yep.
yep. You know,
When you're 15-year-old comes home with a speed ticket, that gets your attention really quick.
or you do what the city of Clare is, and you park the, county sheriff's vehicle right out at the edge of town. That slows everybody down as they're coming into town.
Yeah.
Because they don't know if he's sitting in the vehicle or not.
All right.
So it doesn't take any man out, it just takes...
Yeah.
It just takes a vehicle, yeah.
They got a spare car sits down there.
They've got a spare car that's sitting in our county shed, maybe we can park that out there.
All right, well, thanks for doing that.
All right, thank you,
Thanks,
yep.
Ben.
We gotta get it out here after the...
We can do it up here if you want, or out at my shed, I don't care.
Down here.
Okay, I'll just check and see if we got anything in the mailbox.
Okay, moving on. We gotta go back to the drainage bills discussion,
Okay.
and, you have anything else for us, Vicki?
I do, but do you wanna go to drainage for that, or just discuss them in regular session? Oh, okay. I figured you just started about that. We had a discussion a couple weeks ago about some asbestos removal from L&M out of Fort Dodge. Question from the board was, what would it cost to have,
believe it's a dumpster and have it carried away. So I got a quote from him for that. Disposal of the equipment and travel time, and it comes up to $633.
The only thing on his quote was there was no, it said at the bottom, there was no disposal or no
Right, no
dumpster,
disposal,
so we
yeah.
didn't, that was our question, we didn't know how much he was removing, how far, or what the price was gonna be, so that was the
There
only
ain't,
question.
I mean, bulk-wise, there ain't gonna be a whole lot. I don't,
Just a short.
And they have to bag it, I think, or something for asbestos.
Yes, because I did ask him, what if you come on a day when people are working, and he said it's all contained, it's all safe, so I said, well, if we have people who have objections being here, and I've heard a couple, they could take the day off or something if they wanted to, take vacation.
What about a truck driver, can he do that?
Yeah.
Always looking for a day off.
before we spend that kind of money, well, let's just see if they can just go in our regular dumpster pickup. Find that out. I don't know if
Oh,
there's
one
gonna be,
piece bag?
I don't know if there's gonna be like 4 garbage bags probably.
If that,
If that much, there ain't that much you're taking out.
double seal it or triple seal it. Triple rag it.
Doug, when you guys have dumpsters, if somebody puts something like asbestos, is there a certain place that it has to go?
We've always taken it up to, Dexter.
Yeah, that's, I don't know if it could just go to the normal
Yeah.
landfill.
That's what
or
I'm-
if it has to go somewhere special.
You have to check with them,
Same way approved.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's what we've always taken.
There's no one around here that I know of. I don't think Region does, but.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it don't.
They do, when I was on that board years ago, I don't think they did. We discussed it several times. Going around with that.
It's considered a hazardous material, so it has to be disposed of as a hazardous material.
Bag or something.
Mhm.
He's not gonna remove it unless he has the proper channel to get rid of it.
Right,
Where basically, they don't have a whole lot of choice.
right. Because they're really sticky on those hazardous materials, so if you don't.
So,
I don't need to do anything further then? Okay. So I'll have Dave sign the okay on that.
yeah, put it on Dave's.
Other than that, several different more, opioid things for you guys, seems like they're coming in bunches. While I was gone on vacation, you had talked to, David Stahl on some ordinances.
Oh, yeah, to do with the tanning
Do I
beds
need to
and
be
fun
working
pools.
on anything? There was really no instructions for me as to how you wanted to proceed on this. Are you looking at making an ordinance like Pocahontas's or something along that line, or?
Talking with, Dave Stahl, he did get permission for the swimming pool now, so we can forget that one for the time being, but the others we need to start working on and see about getting the ordinance through. The tanning booths and another inspection. Otherwise, it's just not really good. Tanning booths or something else on there.
Tattoo parlor.
Tattoo, yeah.
We've got a couple of them now here in town, so.
Yeah.
It's a growing business.
Yeah, right now, he won't have any cause to inspect them, but if you get the ordinance changed, like, doing this, doing that.
That's doing.
All right, I'll see what I can put together on that then. This is the quote from Solutions, if you want to go ahead and sign that one. And then the only other thing I had was, library contracts went out. I'm just waiting for them all to come back in. There was a note attached to Humboldt just saying to, thank you guys so much for your support of the libraries. So I wanted to pass that on, because you don't get to hear, thank you very often.
I think they're worthwhile.
Yeah, they do a lot more than just loan out books.
Yeah, they do.
Thank you.
That's all you got.
That's all I got.
Wow.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, thank you.
Like we still need drainage, it's still raining. Pretty good.
Well, I know my lawn needs it, oh my gosh.
State Fair Week, gutter rain.
Yep.
When it rains or it's 100 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only supposed to be in the 80s.
We're coming back from Kansas City, it poured down there, all the way up into the morning. Yeah, it just poured, it was bucket. I'm glad Leon was driving.
Showing highlights last night.
Yeah, we left Kansas City at, about 9:45 in the morning yesterday. Yeah, and it was just,
All the way home.
oh, all the way, and it was just in Missouri.
Yeah, it looked like it was
down.
really south central, a lot
Yep.
of there were getting smashed.
Yeah, they were.
Just
yeah.
Bobby here all day.
Yeah.
Didn't do much.
Mhm.
Little sprinkle here and there.
Yeah, it poured the whole way.
Still got your body armor on. Another month or, oh my God.
Okay, we're in drainage on discussion on bills. Questions on bills, if they're not complete, don't turn them until they are. We've got a couple of them turned in that not complete, but we don't know where they're at, and one of them had two contractors signed to the same job. One of the times, if you, somebody signed another contractor or something. I thought one of them had two contractors.
My question, I guess, on that is, what are you, like, if we have ditch clean out, they do the clean out generally, and then level the soil later when it's dry.
So they give you the bill for the clean out, then they come back later with the bill for the leveling, which could be 9 months later, or 6 months later.
That's still okay, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't want to be done part of the job, or wait for the other, you can have the other.
Yeah, there's one here that, I think we can hear that, and see how many bills I've gotten from what project, and I'm
Well,
not sure.
I think Dave summed it up, that other than maybe the spoils leveling, and I'm not so sure, you guys have cleaned up ditches, right? Well, to get the ditch cleaned out, do you add the fact that you may have to come back a few months later?
You always wait for the spoil to
Right.
dry down.
Do you, if you're done with the ditch clean out, and the only thing you're waiting on is leveling the spoils, if you submit a bill for the ditch clean out, do you include the fact that you're gonna come back, or do you wait and build that?
Wait to build that out.
You wait and build that when you do it?
Yep.
Okay. That makes sense, because there's a time expanse, it
Right.
depends on what it was, but Dave pretty much hit the nail on the head. Otherwise, you're gonna get the ditch cleaned out and submit the bill for the ditch clean out. You're not gonna send a bill in every week as you move down the ditch. So they pretty much summed that up.
What we had there was that one
And he's been told
There's several.
that he's not getting paid till the job.
you, and then I told him to get a hold of them.
Yep.
Okay. I had some concerns about, I've had conversation with a couple different landowners about, they, like when they just do work orders. And they were concerned that you're spending a lot of money, because you can do a work order up to $50,000, basically. And he says, well, what are these guys gonna charge? And, you know, for this and that. And I told him, I said, we gotta rely a lot on just the quality of our local contractors for that. They said, well, why don't you get estimates on some of these projects to find out what they're gonna cost before you do them? So I called up Doug to get his opinion, because he's one of the guys that works in the area. And I even talked with the land manager just on Friday about it, to get his opinion. You know, he manages a lot of land in the county, but sometimes, you know, I had one project there, I went out and looked at it, I told the landowner, get a work order, get it done, and it was double what I expected it to be. to me, it was outrageous price. But I don't know what he found out when he dug the project up, you know.
You went part of the distance, didn't you?
No, not so, no, this is on a, just a repair to a tile out in the middle of the field. So, I didn't know if you need to have some sort of estimates on some of these projects, so you get a ballpark idea what you think they're gonna cost, or not. The one issue there, where you say he went further than he was told to, I say we just pay him for what we told him to do, because he didn't need to go that extra distance, there's no need for it. But, so when I visited with the land manager, he says, that's just gonna increase the cost when you have people come out and give estimates, they're gonna say, well, I think it's gonna cost $5,000. It's gonna cost $5,000 when you get the bill, you know, unless it's over, and then they'll document more why it cost. That's what his thoughts were. I don't know what the rest of the board's thoughts are on this. I think a lot of it is, we just gotta be maybe a little bit choosier on some of our contractors. If we think their bills are coming in exorbitantly high, just don't give them as much work.
I agree with that, and the fact
I
that...
mean, that's what I would, if I say, took my car to a mechanic, and I thought, wow, did he stab me on that one? I probably won't go back to that guy.
That's exactly right.
But some of them, you don't know what you've got until you get into it.
Right.
Exactly. If there was a tile laying on top of that cable there, you said fix it, I could tell you exactly what it's gonna cost. But in the ground, you don't know until you dig it up.
But by the same token, Doug, don't you think that if you thought preliminary, you were talking to us about fixing that tile that's on the desk, and then when I get into it,